Hello, everyone. It's National Black Child Development Week. And this week, all across the nation, our National Village Network is activating activities around NBCDI's 8 essential outcomes. One of our outcomes is centered around narrative. One is centered around the importance of making sure that there's representation in books and toys. So today, we have community leaders at a local Detroit elementary school, and they'll be reading some amazing books to children right here. I'm excited for you all to see it. Stay tuned for the rest of the week for some amazing activations across the country.
We are so excited to have you here with BCDI Detroit. I am Monica Thompson, the president of BCDI Detroit, and I am so excited to have you at Cornerstone Jefferson Douglas Academy and to welcome George Austin Garrett from the 36th District Court. He is going to read for our Joy to Reading program tonight. So let's give him a hand and we'll have him introduce himself and he can start his story time.
All right, how y'all doing? And like I was introduced, my name is Austin Garrett. I'm a judge at 36th District Court, and today we're going to read Hair Loves. Anybody read this book before? Yeah. All right, good. You like this book, right? Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. For the daughters who never grow too old to need a father's helping hand, and the fathers who love to be needed. For my dad and his excellent braiding skills. Hair Love by Matthew A. Cherry, illustrations by Vashti Harrison. My name is Zuri, and I have hair that has a mind of its own. It kinks, coils, and curls every which way. Daddy tells me it's beautiful. That makes me proud. I love that my hair lets me be me. In funky braids with beads, I'm a princess. And when my hair is in two puffs, I'm above the clouds like a superhero. The cape. My hair even does magic tricks. One day, Rocky and I were playing outside when along came the rain. From large to small it went, presto, just like that. There's nothing my hair can't do. Today, I woke up extra early all by myself. I was too excited to sleep. It's a big day. Daddy was still sleeping. I said to Rocky as we tiptoed past him, lately Daddy has been worn out. He makes me breakfast, takes me to school, goes to work, picks me up, and yesterday we went for a bike ride around the park. I think he needs a break. Because today is special, I want a perfect hairstyle. This calls for a professional's touch. Crack. Paws off, Rocky. Daddy heard the crash. Zuri, what on earth? He asked. I was only trying to help, I said. Daddy smiled. Can I help too? It'll be a piece of cake, Zuzu. The first style was a big no way. You see the first style? The second was no better. No, Daddy. Then Daddy tried slicking my hair back into two puffs. Ouch! Daddy yelled. See the rubber band hit him in the face? Wait a minute, Daddy said as he reached into the drawer and pulled out a pick. Ta-da! Daddy, really? I said. I'll be right back, he promised. She's got a big old afro.
Bob Ross. Hi, I love Bob Ross. He's a famous artist. Of course you know.
Now, how's that, he asked, pulling a hat down over my eyes. Daddy, come on, we can do better than that. I really need my hair to be special. Don't worry, he said. We'll figure this out. Then I had a great idea. See, she's got an idea. Look how big her eyes are. She's ready. Daddy gathered all the tools we needed, and we were set. Watching carefully, Daddy combed, parted, oiled, and twisted. He nailed it. Funky puff buns. Pretty, and so much fun. Rocky approved too. She's really proud of that hairstyle. I put on my superhero cape as the final touch for the perfect look. Where's my Zuzu? Mommy called from the door. She could not get in the house fast enough. Mommy! You've got to be the prettiest Supergirl I've ever seen, she said. See, her mom just got home. And your hair is beautiful, Zuri. Who did it? I looked at Daddy and beamed. Mommy smiled. Very nice. Thank you. We learned from the best, Daddy said as he gave her a big hug. Hugging. My hair is Mommy, Daddy, and me. It's Hair Love. And then they take a family picture. And that is Hair Love. Did you like that book?
Yeah.
Yay, me too. Wonderful. Thank you all. Any questions about the book? All right, let's start on my left because I'm left-handed. Go ahead, sir. First, let me have your name.
George Latham the Fourth.
Okay, George, what's your question?
It's kind of off topic, but on topic at the same time. Why did Rocco have a mystic smile on that one page you got?
Because that's what he was. He was being very mischievous. That cat was mischievous.
I have a cat, myself, and she's also very mischievous.
Oh, see, there you know. You know what Rocco was up to. Who else has a question? What's your name? Ariane. What's your question?
When her mom came here, she's very happy that she probably get her hair done again by her mom.
Yeah, she did. She liked it. If you look, I think the video that they're watching when he finishes the hair finally in the way that she likes it, it may be the video of her mom doing her hair. It's just showing him how to do it. There's a lady right there. That could be her mom. See? Yeah. So that's her mom was helping him out the whole time. That's why at the end she says her father says we learn from the best.
Well, you already probably had it. Because I thought the mama had cancer.
Oh, really? You saw the movie? Okay. This book is based on a movie. Did everyone else know that? Yeah, I think it won an Oscar, I think.
And I saw her at the hospital when I watched school.
Okay. Does anyone else have a question? What's your question?
When was the book made?
This book was made in, let's see here, I think it was 2019.
It took a while, I guess to say it was 2016.
You weren't that far off. 2019. Any other questions? Go ahead. What's your name?
Demi.
And what's your question?
I think it was Mother Day because it was a thing on a wall.
Okay. What did the thing on the wall say?
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Anybody else think it was Mother's Day? We can make it Mother's Day. It was Mother's Day. Any other questions? What's your name?
My name is Simon, and it's not really a question. It's more like the statement. My favorite part about the book was at the ending when they hugged each other and she said that she really liked the hair.
Right. Because she was very concerned about how her hair was going to look because it was a very special day and she was seeing her mom again. Are you all ever concerned about how your hair looks for a special day?
Yes.
Are you concerned about it every day?
No.
Just special days?
Yes.
Is today a special day?
Yes.
All right. 'Cause all of your hair looks wonderful. Any other questions? Okay, you have another question. Go ahead.
So, I feel like she knows that her mama, because her mama was in the hospital, and she wanted her mama would, because her mama would make her look beautiful.
I think that's right. That's great. Thank you. All right, let's give a round of applause for Hair Love. And give a round of applause for yourself for being such great listeners. Well, thank you. I appreciate you all's time. Oh, see, there you go. Hug yourselves too. We're not gonna leave ourselves out. You all over there, hug yourselves too. This is all about hair love and self-love.
Today, as our special guest reader, we have Judge Kamisha Gatt from the Oakland County Circuit Court. And I'm going to let her introduce herself. Let's give her a round of applause.
Well, good afternoon. How you guys doing? Good. You're doing good? I'm doing good too. A little tired. I think I need a nap. What about you guys? Yeah. You guys have your nap today? You said yes. You've been doing that all day too? Me too. I've been working all day today, but we're gonna have fun together, okay? I have a story for you guys, but first, I'm Kamisha Gant at the Oakland County Circuit Court, and so I'm a judge there. I've been a judge since 2019. I'm coming up on my 5th year anniversary being a judge, so as far as judges go, I'm kind of like a baby judge. Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you. We're going to read a book, and the book is Ron's Big Mission, and the author is Rose Blue and Corinne Naden, and the illustrator is Don Tate. Have you guys seen this book before? No. No? Okay, well then we're in for a treat. Okay. You ready? Yes. I'm ready. All right. You're up early this morning, Ron. What's the rush? Asked Mrs. McNair. Come and have your breakfast. I made some oatmeal. I have to go, Mama, said Ron, trying on his sneakers. I have something to do this morning. You always have something to do, said his mother with a smile. Just be home by lunchtime, okay? Ron was 9 years old. That morning, he left his house with a plan. He'd been thinking about it for a long time. It was a beautiful South Carolina summer day, and Ron looked up at the blue, blue sky. Someday, he thought, he would be up there, flying a plane. He wanted to be a pilot when he grew up, but today, Ron had something else on his mind, something very important. Ron walked down the street as fast as he could. He didn't want to be late. Hi, Ron, the grocer called from the front of the store. There you are, just in time for a donut. Morning, Mr. Douglas, said Ron. Thank you, but there's some place I've got to be. And Ron kept on walking. Down by the schoolyard, Ron saw his friend Carl shooting baskets. All right, you made it, called Carl. Hi, Carl, said Ron. I wish I could stay, but I've got something important to do. More important than basketball on summer vacation, said Carl. Are you kidding? Ron laughed. He loved to play basketball, but not today. Today was very important. Ron kept on walking. When Ron got to the Lake City Public Library, he stopped. This was it. He was hot from walking so fast, and he was nervous too. He took a deep breath, lifted his head high, and went inside. Mrs. Scott was busy getting ready for all the people who would be using the library today. As the head librarian, she had to make sure that everything was neat and orderly. Mrs. Scott looked up to welcome her first visitor of the day. She smiled as Ron walked in. He was her best customer. Ron gave a little wave to Mrs. Scott and went right to the shelves. It took Ron a while to find some books. He always looked for books that showed children who looked like him. But that was hard. There were not many books about Black kids on the shelves. At last, Ron found some books on airplanes. He took the books and started to walk to the front desk. Ron felt nervous, and his hands felt a little sweaty, but he knew what he wanted to do. Mrs. Fielding, a white lady who was often in the library, stopped him. "You can give me the books, and I'll check them out for you, Ron," she said gently. "No thanks, Mrs. Fielding," Ron said. "I'm going to do it all by myself." "But Ron," she started to say. Ron was already on his way to the front desk. He put the books on the counter. "I'd like to check these out, please," said Ron. The desk clerk didn't look at him. "Didn't she hear me?" Ron wondered. Ron knew what he had to do. He jumped up on the counter. He wanted the desk clerk to know he was serious. "I'd like to check out these books," he said quietly. At first, the desk clerk and Mrs. Scott just looked at each other. "You know you can't check out books, Ron," said Mrs. Scott. "You can read them here. That's the rule. Only white people can check out books from the library." Ron looked at Mrs. Scott and the desk clerk politely, but he would not budge. "I always read them here. Today, I want to check them out," said Ron. Mrs. Scott and the desk clerk did not know what to do. Ron wouldn't get off the counter. People were staring. Finally, the desk clerk called the Lake City police. Two policemen came right over. "Let someone check out the books for you, son," said one of the policemen. "You know the rules." But Ron just shook his head. He would not budge. Now Mrs. Scott called Ron's mother. Mrs. McNair came to the library very quickly. "I know how you feel, baby," she said, "but you have to follow the rules." "I can't, Mama," Ron told her. "It's wrong. The rules are not fair. Why can't I check out books just like everyone else?" No one said anything. Not the desk clerk, not Mrs. Scott, not the policeman, not even Ron's mother. Mrs. Scott looked at Ron. She thought about all the times that Ron came into the library and all the times he sat at the tables for hours looking over so many books. He was her best customer, and she knew what she had to do. Mrs. Scott walked back into her office and started writing. Ron wondered what she was doing. Mrs. Scott returned and handed Ron a library card, his library card. Ron looked at Mrs. Scott and smiled. As he jumped to the floor, he thought he saw her smile too. "I'd like to check these books, please," he said, handing the card to the desk clerk. The desk clerk took the library card and stamped the cards in the back of the books. "These are due back in 2 weeks," she said. Ron smiled. "Thank you," he said. He tucked the books under his arm and took his mother's hand. Together they walked home. Ron couldn't wait to get to his room. He couldn't wait to get to his room and open the page of the book to page 1. The end. Now, what's important about this book is that the author has a note. So he says, "The boy who was Ron McNair grew into a man who flew planes just like he dreamed he would. He became an astronaut. Today, everyone in Lake City remembers him. They remember him every time they walk into the library. The red brick building on 234 Main Street is a special place. The walls in the children's room were painted with pictures that show children reading books under a huge oak tree. A space shuttle flies through the sky. Inside the library, anybody can get a card and check out books. Young Ron McNair had a dream. On that day in 1959, he made it start to come true. Because of him, many young people had a chance to dream. You can only be a winner if you are willing to walk over the edge, astronaut McNair once told a group of children. You're eagles. Spread your wings and fly to the sky. Many years ago in Lake City, South Carolina, young Ron McNair became a hero. Years later, in 1986, astronaut Ron McNair was once again a hero. He lost his life when the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded on January of 28th, with the loss of the entire crew. The Lake City Public Library is dedicated to astronaut McNair. The story is a fictionalized account of a real incident in Ron McNair's life. There are several versions of the story. This version comes from interviews with Ron's mother, the late Mrs. McNair, and Gloria Wilson, administrative assistant to the director of library systems in Florence County, South Carolina, and Gloria Tisdale of the Lake City School District. And we thank them for their help in reconstructing this inspirational story. Except for Mrs. McNair and Ron, all of the characters' names are fictionalized. So this book is pretty much a true story with names changed and the city changed. But Ron McNair was a hero in his city because he wanted all children to be able to check out books at the library. So when he stood up on the counter, that was true. So he did end up, because he dreamed about books with airplanes and flying in the sky, and he eventually did that. So this is an inspirational story for you that you can do anything you put your mind to. Okay? So you guys have some questions for me about the book or about, yes?
How did you start your career?
How did I start my career? Well, I started my career first by becoming an attorney. And then I practiced law for a period of time. And then after I practiced law for a period of time, I decided that I wanted to run for judge. And when I decided that I wanted to run for judge, I actually ended up getting appointed to my position by the governor. So I didn't have to run in an election to get my job eventually. I was appointed by the governor, and the rest is history. So I'm here in my position because the people vote me to be in the seat, and every so often I have to run in an election to keep the seat. So the people decide whether or not I continue to be a judge. Yes?
How does it feel right now to be a judge?
How does it feel right now to be a judge? It's not the easiest job in the world because you are making decisions that impact other people's lives, but it's actually a very rewarding job because I know that my decisions are important and that I do the best job that I can, and I always keep in mind the best interest of the people that are in front of me, and I try to make sure that they leave my courtroom in a better place than they were before they came into my courtroom. And I try to be conscientious, sensitive, and I try to be understanding of the people that come before me. So right now, it feels good to be a judge.
Do you ever get overwhelmed when you need to make the big decision to end off the case?
I do. Most people don't realize that you're a judge 24 hours a day. It's not a 9-to-5 job where you clock out at the end of the day and you leave it there. There are decisions that I think about at night. So even though I leave the workplace and I leave the courthouse, I'm always thinking about decisions that I have to make and what I'm gonna do. And I'm always preparing for the next day. So when everybody else is asleep, sometimes I'm up at night trying to figure out what's the best solution for everybody. So I do get overwhelmed, and that's where you have the support of your friends and your family, and you find fun things to do to take your mind off of the stress. And so I went into this job knowing that I could get overwhelmed at times, but you use the tools and resources that you have to get through it.
I had two questions. So, what type of high school and elementary school did you go to?
What type of high school, elementary school did I go to? Everett High School in Lansing. And then I went to college, the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. And I went to law school at Wayne State University Law School in Detroit.
And my other question was how did your friends, when you were a kid and when you were in high school, how did your friends, your family, and your schools help you to become a judge?
Well, that's actually a good question. So, as a judge, you have to be a good listener. So just being a good student and paying attention in class helped me, with listening skills. And so you have to also like to read. And I always like to read, even as a kid. You have to do a lot of writing as a judge. And so, in school, you write book reports, you do all kinds of reports and essays. And so that was helpful in preparing me to be a judge. So when I look back on, my schooling, even as early as elementary school, I technically was developing skills to help me later on become a judge, which is why it's so important to get a basic education, because a basic education is going to help you do anything that you want to do. So I got a degree, and most people don't know this, but I went to school to be a dentist. I didn't go to school to be a lawyer. I never even imagined that I would be a judge. So I went to school to be a dentist, and I got a science background. And so, but because I got a basic education, I was able to change my mind even after I had gone through high school and I had gone to college wanting to be a dentist. But because I had the basic knowledge, the basic skills, I was able to switch my desires and my dreams and my goals and become a lawyer, and which is far different from being a dentist. And then when I became an attorney, I practiced law for a period of time, and I thought that I would be a good judge. I wanted to be a judge to help people. I already help people, but I wanted to help them even more. And so I was able to be a judge. So school and things that you learn, even in elementary, middle school, and high school, can help you prepare for a future career.
What an amazing experience today, seeing community leaders use their voice to read to children here in Detroit at an elementary school. Stay tuned for the rest of the week so that you can see all the activations that are happening across the country.
Hello, I'm Raven Moore, Director of Narrative and Movement Building at NBCDI. Thank you for joining us all week long as we celebrate National Black Child Development Week. NBCDI is excited to bring you a week of highlighting and sharing our 8 essential outcomes. Now act on your learning and let us know, what book has inspired you to champion Black children's civil rights and well-being? Share your favorite reads with us, and let's empower each other together to make a difference. Tag at NBCDI_ and use the hashtag Igniting Revolution, hashtag NBCDW24, and hashtag NBCDI when uplifting your community so we can share. Check out our YouTube or Facebook page to rewatch any of our webinars throughout this week. And stay connected by visiting our website at NBCDI.org. Check out our social media each evening for a way for you to participate and possibly win an NBCDI giveaway. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow at noon.